Ruby we've done. Let's double check that. Yep. And Swig we've just completed, so it looks, oh, and have we got Ant? I think we've got Apache Ant. Yep. So it looks like Subversion's ready to build. Yeah, I think I looked at Java. I'm sure that's getting close to being ready. Graphics Mercurial. Oh yes, really, I think probably after getting Mercurial built, it'll just about be ready. So let's fetch Subversion now. So I've got patch with some fixes, configure. Let's see if there's any other options to add there. We haven't got the JUnit jar file. Actually, we could probably download that. I don't normally do this, but if it's just a single jar file, that should be as straightforward as just plonking the jar file somewhere. Let's have a go at this. Right, I don't want to save that, so let's do wget. Right, that didn't work, did it? No, I've got two index HTML files. All right, okay. So we want that one there. And that one there. Right, for some reason that's not copying. Let's try doing that one, then that one. Right, what have I done to this window now? It seems to have... Oh, I've just pasted everything in for some reason. Crikey. Right, hopefully nothing serious happened there. So, right, let's get this one. I don't think that would have worked, so copy that. I wonder if I can go up. Look for JUnit. JUnit 4. Right, no, I don't know which one of them it was, so I'll close this down and load it up again. Right, if I go back to Subversion and then go close this, close that, and recall the configure command. Okay, that was what I corrupted by the looks of it. And then add in this path. Now it could be that, put sources BLFS because it's in there. Now it could be like it says I've got to add them to the class path because it hasn't asked for the Hamcrest jar file, so it may not work like that. So let's see what the configure says about that. Well, it didn't complain, so let's see what the build does. Okay, that's built. It does actually say that either JDK, Dante, JIX or JUnit to test the Java binding, so it's probably unnecessary to download that JUnit for. Just realised it seems like it's one of them. Or it means JDK, Dante or JIX and the JUnit 4. So probably a fail anyway. So no documentation is possible. Let's build the Java HL. So 100 errors and 4 warnings out of that. And I did notice I've specified with JUnit incorrectly. Apparently it should be set directly to the jar file. So what I'm going to do, I'll start that again. If it fails in the same way, then I know that the other dependencies are necessary. Yeah, that's right. So I'll put the patch in and run the configure. I'll copy this here and it's in sources BLFS junit.jar. Actually, what I will also do is set the class path as well. So that again will be sources BLFS junit, and I'll also specify the other one. So that's sources BLFS hamcrest.jar. So if this junit has some sort of problem, then at least I'd hope that the why has that not come up correctly? The configure bit is missing for some reason. Yeah, at least hopefully the class path will be picked up. So config prefix equal user, disable static, Apache libc acceptor. Yeah, that looks right. So build that again. Oh, it does say these. It's hard to interpret what this means. I presume it means JUnit 4 is to test the bindings, but to create them it needs JDK and Dante or JIX. It's difficult to actually understand what's required. So if that's right, then I imagine this make Java HL is going to fail as it did before. Okay, so let's try it. Right, there was 100 warnings this time, but no errors, so that looks like it couldn't find it originally. Yeah, they're just deprecated warnings. So I think that's a successful build from what I can tell. Let's just go back a little bit. It did seem to actually be compiling stuff. It was taking time doing each command. Yeah, I think that's okay. So if doing the Ruby bindings, you need to set the C standard. Then we can build additional bindings. There's one here for Pearl. Sometimes these don't work for me, so whether it's something else I haven't installed or some misunderstanding on my part, I'm not sure, but we'll see how we go this time. Okay, that was successful. Let's do the Python bindings now. Okay, and finally Ruby. Okay, and now we're going to check the subversion code. So these are the tests for subversion. Okay, for test fails, it was a bit unusual there. I'm not sure why. And another thing I did notice, this switch had perhaps been removed. It says remove these if you have the optional dependencies. So I think I might rebuild yet again and see if the tests are improved to any extent. So let's do that. It's a case of I'm trying to get on with the build, but rushing a little bit too much. I have to slow down just a little bit. So patch again, recall the configure command, and I'll add in the enable Java HL. Running make Java HL is necessary to do the compilation, which is that bit there, and which I forgot to do. So that should be complete now, hopefully. Right, so build that. Right, so now let's build the Java HL again. Okay, so there's a few warnings there. Let's change the C standard, make the Perl bindings. Okay, now the Python bindings. And finally the Ruby bindings. And now we'll run the tests. Okay, so that failed with 4 tests failed. I'm not sure why that would be. This one's set to revision properties during remote property edit. Seems something to do with properties there is a common thing. Not particularly bothered unless it'll be something I was using in anger. So not sure why that has happened. So that's the Perl bindings. That was a pass. Python bindings a pass. And Ruby bindings. Okay, that's a pass. The Java HL will get tested after it's been installed, it says down here. So, in case you're wondering, let's install that now. And some more stuff to install. And then the Java HL bindings. Relink. Okay, is that because the path again? Let's try like that. Command for installing it. Okay, let's do the remove LA files. No, it's still coming up. Relink lib svn java hl with the above command before installing it, which is what it's just done. Don't quite understand that. Let's try becoming root completely. No, I'm not really sure what that's all about. There's clearly an issue there with the Java HL. I don't think I've ever had the Java HL working properly. It's obviously something I'm doing wrong. Right, let's put that in a sudo to install the Perl bindings. Okay, and same for the Python bindings. Oh, that's not relinking now. I don't understand why that is. Was that because I've tidied up the LA files? I'm not sure. Okay, let's try the Ruby ones. Although I've had Subversion installed before, I don't, for personal use, I don't tend to install the bindings because I've no need for them, and it just seems to be the bindings that I have problems with. Although this time the Subversion isn't built or tested completely clean. So that's a bit strange. Yeah, that's not working either now. Let's try the Java HL. It's obviously going to fail because it didn't complete installing. I'm just wondering if there's one of these that hasn't been installed completely. I'm just looking now. Yeah, there's nothing that needs to be reinstalled here at all, so I can't really understand why Subversion's not working or testing at least completely. I may possibly install it at a later point. Oh, this has worked. I didn't expect that. So it's clearly installed. Maybe it's just something it does at the end. It's not actually necessary for the installation. Okay, I think the next part is in setting up as a server, which we'll just go through quickly. Although again, you probably wouldn't want to do this for desktop. Let's just become, yeah, CSU. Right, so add a group for SVN. And it says if you plan to have multiple repositories, you should have a group dedicated to each repository for ease of administration. So they give an example of a SVN test, which is probably a good idea to have a test repository for people to try things out on. Additionally, you should set umask 2 while working with the repository so that all new files will be writable by the owner and group. This is made mandatory by creating a wrapper script for SVN and SVN serve. If you use Apache for working with a repository over HTTP, even for anonymous access, you should wrap use HTTPD in a similar script. Creating a Subversion repository. So they're creating a test one here. Okay, so it does look like something seriously wrong with the SVN program. So it's created the directories. It's this SVN admin that's not worked correctly. No such file or directory. Yeah. So it looks like SVN's broken, unfortunately. I think I'm going to have to reinstall it again and find out what's not working and why. Yeah, I think I need to do that, don't I? So I'll come out of this. And look a bit more closely as to what's happening. So we've got a patch Let's recall the configure. Now I've got the class path set, haven't I, yet? So let's rebuild this. There doesn't apparently seem to be any errors with the build. Right, so that's done. I'll build the Java HL bindings. If I can't get to the bottom of the test failing, I might unset the C flags and see if that makes a difference. So I've got the warnings there again, but they're all warnings about deprecation of methods by the looks of it. Subversion client warning. Deprecated item is not annotated with deprecated, so the deprecated methods need to be annotated as such. It's only shown the first 100, and then it says long has been deprecated for mark, so that's why we've got one extra warning at the bottom, so that's not the issue. So let's rebuild the bindings. Okay, now the Python bindings. And finally Ruby bindings. And I'll run the tests again. I'll see those 4 failures and I'll examine them a bit closer. Okay, so they failed again. I've just been looking about some of these tests, and it seems like the tests themselves may be the problem. Although the post was a little bit old, I found something from Red Hat where these tests have been recommended to be disabled because there was a bug either with the tests themselves or within the code possibly. So it looks like it might be alright to ignore them. Not all of them identical, but there's certainly the commit test is there. Not the other three though, so I'm not really too bothered about that. I'm going to have a look at the test log though to see if there's anything that might explain it a bit better. What's happened? I might do this in a separate window so I don't lose that information. Let's put that there. Oh, I haven't copied the whole of the file name correctly. Right, so am I going to look for a fail, am I? Right, what might be quicker is if I look for the name of the test. Commit test.py. Right, this is the problem I have with this. Raise that one. Right, so it's the 47th test, repo to repo move. Oh, I see, so it can't find Python. And is that because Python is Python 3, is it? I think that's what the problem is. So if I do Python version, yeah, it's looking for Python and not Python 3. So I wonder if it's worth doing. The next question is, can I test individual packages? What I might do is put in Python equals Python 3. See if that tests passes. And this is why I said I wasn't too concerned, because it looks like it's not an issue, particularly with the test itself, just the way the test is being run or the assumption it's being made about the system. Okay, so it looks like it's failed in the same way, unfortunately. So, not sure if I'll be able to look at this while it's running. It could be that environment variable is not even useful in this case. Oops. What I might do, it might be worth setting this up anyway, is linking user bin Python 3 to user bin Python. I've done that the wrong way around, haven't I? User bin Python 3. No, I did have it right around. Permission denied. So now if I type Python version, Python works on its own. So if I stop this test and rerun it, let's take that out of it because it didn't seem to do anything. And I may as well also do the man page for it as well, which is that one there. So Python so if I do man Python, no, it hasn't worked. Okay, maybe there's something else that needs to be done then. Python 3 works. Oh, is there an index got to be updated? I'm not sure exactly how man pages work, but the main thing is the binary works, hopefully. What it seems to from the command prompt. It depends whether this looks, it might even be hard-coded now as Python. Well, no, actually that shouldn't make a difference, come to think of it. Let's see when it gets to it, which is this one here, I think. Okay, yeah, we got success, so that's why that one failed. Let's see if any of the others failed. Oh, I guess this will be overwritten now when this log file, so there's no point in looking at while it's running. Okay, that's a better result. We've got no failures this time. It says no failures, but the fails log exists from a previous run. So it just goes to show that it's not necessarily any problems with the build itself, but how it's being tested. And it's a bit strange that tests are failing because they're looking for a particular program name, whereas all the other tests that are Python tests clearly are looking for the correct program name. It's a little bit odd. So I'm going to leave that in at least for the end of Subversion in case it makes a difference to the rest of the build. I'm thinking even about leaving that symlink in to Python for the rest of the BLFS build because I'm concerned that that may cause an issue, that there may be other software that's still looking for Python rather than Python 3. So we'll see how I go with the rest of this. I'm half expecting those relinking failures to occur again. I don't think they're anything to do with the Python, but I may be wrong. So we'll see how these tests go. I think these all passed anyway before, so it shouldn't be any different. Oh, we've got one failure there now. Okay, well that didn't happen before. Memory leak. How interesting. Let's see if we've got anything in dmessage. No. So is that because I've got the Python link in now? I don't know. Let's try and remove it. Let's just make sure that is the symlink it is. So I'll remove that. And rerun the tests. No, it's still failing, so that's a little bit strange that that passed before and now it's failing. So I'll put this link back in again. And try the Ruby one. Okay, so that's passed. I'm going to do the install now. Again. And this is the documentation. This shouldn't be any different really. So install Java HL. I think this failed. Yeah, so I need to find out why that's happening. Right, I'm wondering if I copy copy this file here, because that's one it can't find, into user lib. And then try make install. Java HL. And yes, that seems to have finished it. So can't quite work out what's not gone right there, or what's prevented that last library from being installed. Let's do the Perl bindings now. Okay, and the Python bindings. So that one's, what's that saying? Permission denied, right? Let's do sudo this time. That's better. Okay, and then Ruby bindings. And finally, let's see how the Java HL test. Now these ran last time anyway, which was neither here nor there, as it seems. Okay, so it's passed again. So if I go forward to configuring the server, and yeah, let's just check to see we've got this wrapper still that's probably been overwritten. So let's have a look at ls-l/user/bin/svn star. Yeah, so the SVN looks like a binary because it's so big, and it's the same size as the original where they copied it. Same with SVN serve, so we'll need to put this in again. So sudo -e su, put that back in. So we can see now that the SVN is different from the original. So that should still exist, I'd imagine, but let's put it in anyway. And create the repositories directory. Now hopefully this SVN admin will work because we've got all the libraries installed. No, it's still not working. So that's missing SVN repos 1.so. It seems like the install's not installing everything. So let's look for lib svn underscore repos -1.so. If I put in the name, it might help. Right, so I think I need to copy that to libsvn underscore repos Oh, sorry, that's wrong. I need to copy all of that into user lib. So sudo, oh no, I'm already root, so cp-iv in case it overwrites anything. So let's have a look at user lib start svn start. What was that one called? Lib svn repos. Yep, so that's there, and I need to point that at the same thing but with a 0 on the end, which is what that error was about. So ln minus s v, I want to take that and point it at .so0. So if I now look at the files there, repos.so.0 points at user lib svn. In fact, it looks like that's an absolute. I could probably do it as this and overwrite it to make it look like the rest of the links. Yeah, so so if I now try this svn admin create again, see if that fixes it. No, it's looking for something else now that hasn't been installed, so I've got to go through the same thing. It's strange why this is not working. Let's go back again and do another make install, I wonder. And now look at these files. Yeah, it's hard to tell if anything's changed. Let's try to see. Oh, it's working again. So it seems like that make install's not working correctly on the first attempt. And all of a sudden it's worked again. So it's a bit of a stretch to get this one working. And I don't know what's wrong or what I've done wrong, or if there's something wrong with the instructions, or if indeed there's something wrong with the actual package itself. So that's created. Should be populated with something useful. You'll need to have a predefined directory layout set up exactly as you want your repository to look. This gives an example there. You'll need to set up a directory tree similar to the following. Okay, so if I create that sort of layout, I guess. I'll just create trunk, branches, and tags. And then the initial import which will be this location, svn test, permission to not, oh right, okay, so I'll need to be part of the svn group, svn test group. Change admin group information on repository. Oh right, so doing this as root, I presume then. Su sudo Okay, that's done. Then change the ownership of that, because it will probably be root, I imagine. So that's a repository. Yes, it's all owned by root. So change everything to SVN test, and then add SVN and SVN test to SVN test to Kernotex, the user, so they've got access to it as well. Let's do sudo for each of them. SU. So let's paste that again and put in Kernotex. So if I log in now as Kernotex, repositories, SVN test, and by SVN test, and if I do groups, you can see I'm part of those two. I'm actually part of that SVN group and SVN test group. And to prove it, this should show it working, and it does. And if I come back to my original login without those, if I do groups, you can see it hasn't got it. That probably won't work. Oh, it has worked. Is that because they read? Yeah, they read to everybody as well, by the looks of it. But I probably wouldn't be able to check anything in. Or would I? Oh, yes, I would. It's got right access for everybody in the group or SVN, so I probably wouldn't then. As mentioned previously, this instruction was to configure the server to use only SSH for right access to the repository and to provide anonymous access using SVN serve. There's several other ways to access the repository. Access configuration doesn't need to be done for each repository. Okay, so let's put this in. And then start the server by going to the BLFS boot scripts, or systemd units rather. And we've got to ensure that the server uses umask2 so that all the files will be writable with the owner end group. And we can overwrite it with this command here. And then I'll use systemctl status svn serve. It's not running, so let's start it. System control daemon reload. Is that because of the previous changes? Now let's do status. Invalid parameter. Sazzle plugin loaded fail. Okay. So there might be something inherently wrong here then. Looks like it might be the Sazzle that's the issue. Sorry, Sazzle, but that was built okay. Did I not do the configuration? So that's running. Maybe some of these configuration files that need to be etc sazzle authd and etc sazzle appname.com for app name is the application defined name of the application. So it could be something there. I'm not really sure how to deal with this. So maybe that's why it's not working. Let's have a look here. Oh, crikey. Yeah, this looks like it's going to be quite detailed. Kerberos, yeah, that is definitely the one I need to look at. Standard sensor configuration file looks like that. Let's try putting that in then. Let's restart this as well. Okay. There's a problem with LDAP DB as well. Okay, I don't really know what I'm doing here, so I'm not going to go any further with that. Suffice to say that the server's probably not working, and I wouldn't normally install this myself with Cyrus anyway, so that's why I've not got any experience with it. So I'll have to leave that as it is, but certainly SVN is working now, which it wasn't working before, as you can see there. Let's see if we can check out SVN test. Help check out. So is that local host then, is it? SVN help. Yeah, I can't remember how to do this from command line. It's been quite a while since I've used Subversion on command line. So I think I'll leave that at that before I break anything. So I'll add in some notes about the fixes I did to get this working. Right, so that Subversion I've added to the book stated that I've linked Python 3 to Python and kind of trying to describe what I did about copying that library and then reinstalling Java HL. It seems to be quite a convoluted fix to get that to some sort of way of working. And I still don't know what the Cyrus. I think it's probably because I haven't configured Cyrus. Like I said, I don't normally build with it, so it's a bit beyond me. That is. So I'll get rid of this. I don't need that, and I'll tidy up Subversion now. And that means I can carry on with the dependencies here. TK hasn't been installed. Just checking that. Oh yes, it has. Yeah, it has been installed, so we can skip that one. Valgrind, systemd, Linux PAM, XMLTO, and ASCII docs. So we're ready to do Git then. So I've already installed it. This is a reinstall, but it'll be a complete reinstall now. So let's put that in. So any other options? This ensures so GitGrep will support the Perl regex option. Okay, doesn't look like there's anything else to do there then. So compile that and make. Okay, that's built, and I'm going to make the HTML documentation. And some man pages as well. Okay, and now run the tests. It says it can be run in parallel mode, so I presume it will pick up the appropriate flags that are set in the environment. To allow concurrent building, that is, or testing. Right, so there's no failures there, that's good. You can run this make target to find out what the failures were. I presume it will come up with nothing. Yes, it has done. So now we'll install Git. And install the man pages. And the HTML documentation. And then whether you installed the downloaded documentation or not, whether you built it like I've just done, it says that it needs to be reorganized with those commands. So that's Git, running a Git server. So we need to add a group and a user. And putting an unusable password hash unlocks the account but cannot be used via login via password authentication. That's required by SSH to work properly. Oh, I see, that's what we did in the previous one. Next, create some files and directories in the home directory of the Git user to allow access to the Git repository using SSH keys. For any developer who should have access to the repository as his or her public SSH key to the authorized key. So I haven't got one of them, so I won't do that. It's also useful to set the default name of the initial branch of the new repositories by modifying the Git configuration. So let's put that in. Finally, add user bin git shell entry to this shell's configuration file. This shell has been set in the Git user profile and is to make sure that only Git related actions can be executed. Then create a Git repository, and it creates a default one of project 1 here by the looks of it. Populate a repository from a client system. So that's for the server. This is as if it's on the user system now. So I'll become the ordinary user again. Create a Git config. I'll leave these blank apart from, well, I'll tell you what, I can put Kernotex there, and right, I've done that wrong there. I'll have to edit that. VI kernotex.org, for example. And then the Git server term used below should be the host name of the Git server. So that would be here. So you sure you want to connect? Yes. I wouldn't know what, oh, was because I need a key, isn't it? I would have thought. So I'm not going to be able to do this because I haven't got that. Okay, so I can't really set up the server because I haven't got the infrastructure, if you like, to set that up. So I'll have to leave that as it is. I'm sure if you're installing Git, you probably know it a lot better than I do. So that's the Git setup. And in fact, it's a reinstallation. So that's completely done. libidn. I'm reinstalling this because of Git. I'm not sure if it's absolutely necessary to reinstall this, but I'll do so anyway. It's only going to be a short build. libidn 2. So that's a rebuild after Git. So that's reinstalled. So that's built. Let's make check. That's all passed. So install this and tidy up. And we've got GNU TLS next. So it's libidn 2, libsecconf. Let's see if I don't think that needs reinstalling. Nope. Next one's NetTools. No. TextLive, Valgrind, and that's it. So we should be able to reinstall this one. GNU TLS. So configure. Enable OpenSSL compatibility. I think that's it. Okay, so that was the configuration. Let's build it. Okay, make check to run the tests. Okay, so it looks like that's all passed. Didn't see any errors going past, so it's time to install this or reinstall it. And I've updated the spreadsheet to say it's been reinstalled. And once again, I saw some LA files there, so let's clear them up, and those SVN ones as well. So let's GNU TLS, back to wget. I think we've got all of these installed now. Let me double check that. HTTP daemon. Yep. IO socket, which I think we've already needed for GNU TLS. librdn2 we've done. Let's look at libproxy. That's okay. And Valgrind. So this is just a reinstall ready for probably GNU TLS, I imagine. Maybe more for Valgrind, I think. It looks like it would use OpenSSL by default. If you install GNU TLS, it will use that. So it's really up to you which you want to use, I guess. What we've got here, wget log, okay. And so, alright, it does specifically tell it to use. So we're not actually using GNU TLS, but there are other applications that do use it. And we can run the Valgrind tests now that we've got Valgrind installed. So if you wish to use a proxy server, that's what libproxy is for. Okay. I don't particularly wish to use a libproxy server, so I'll leave that out. But again, it's there if there's any other package that needs to use it. Okay, let's have a look what we've got here. It's interesting, I found GPGME. Sure that's installed unless it's a switch we've got to turn on, but I'm not going to do that because it's not mentioned in the book. Okay, run the tests. Okay, those tests have all passed and reinstalled it. I just looked at the spreadsheet, I was updating it, and it looks like this was primarily to reinstall after libpsl, which has probably had other things done to it. So make install, and that's wget installed again. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is to shut that down. I'm going to see if there's anything here I can update, as we've installed quite a bit of stuff. So yeah, libproxy can go, wget can go. Is there anything here? libidn can go. Let's have a look at curl. That's been reinstalled, so that can go. Let's check glib2. glib2. I'll rebuild after GJS for extra testing, so I'll leave that there. CMake. Reinstall but rebuild after git mercurial subversion. Setup tools. Oh yes, these I've already got down, so it looks like these are still left to do. Oh, we've got glib twice there. Git we've done. Font config I think is done. Oh no, still I think we've done dependencies. It says JSON, C, text, live and SGML, SPM. I think we've done them. Xorg is definitely done. GI.gen. Rebuild after graph is one test. Yes, I think that's it for the moment. Let's just check that OpenSSH. Yeah, we've reinstalled that. No work left to do with that. Sphinx, I think we might have done as well. Yep, that's been reinstalled, so that can go. Hatch VCS, GDB. Yep, that's been reinstalled as well. Right, I think that is probably it then, looking at these. Not sure about Cairo, possibly. LLVM, let's have a look at that one. I think we did that. Yep, that's been done as well. So that's looking quite good. We're getting down the packages to rebuild. Looking at the spreadsheet, that kind of concurs with that as well. It's good because it means that we can push on rather than revisiting stuff to rebuild. So that's good. I'll save that. I'll come out of that because what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut down the machine and then reboot it from scratch, and hopefully I think some of the tests during Git were being slowed down by the screen update, so that's what I want to. Well, I could just do StartX really to restart, but I think I'll do a full reboot after all that faffing around with SVN. So I'll close this and log out of that. In fact, I could test it now really. Let's do StartX. So that's Dillo there. If I just enlarge this, if I do a sudo ls -lra / let that buzz around there. Let's see how well this behaves. It's still a bit slow actually, but it's better than it was. It's obviously doing a lot of updates. Let's try doing the GLX gears here. Yeah, see how slow that is. Yeah, it's still. I wonder if I do need to do a reboot. Oh, that's finished now. Yeah, it's a bit jittery. So maybe a reboot will fix that. I think I changed it anyway. Let me check that. Let's come out of that. Yeah, TC X11 Xorg, and it was the tear free. So that was true. I've set it to false. Okay. So I'll shut down, and in the next video we'll carry on.